Have you ever held on to a piece of furniture long enough to give your makeover a makeover? Keep watching and I'll show you how I gave this 20-year-old cedar chest its third life with a new modern look. We picked up this cedar lined chest at a place called Bald Furniture back in the day. It was all unfinished wooden pieces, and somewhere along the way I gave it this really bad farmhouse looking chalk painted finish when that was a big style, and it may even have been my first chalk painted piece. I don't remember for sure, but I started to give it a sand. I knew I wanted to see that wood again on the top and possibly stain it, so started sanding and sanding and sanding. Took forever, and neither one of us remembered that it actually was stained apparently at one point. I don't remember if we had the store stain it for us or maybe my dad stained it for us, but we've had it so long that we totally forgot. After a couple rounds of sanding, I decided to try acetone to help me get the rest of this finish off, and so it did work. It helped, but it left some of the pieces splotchy for whatever reason. So I did go ahead and stain it with this Minwax oil-based stain, and once I saw how it turned out, I did have to, in a few spots, kind of sand it down again. Then I put a pre-stain on it and then re-stain on top of that, and I did eventually get it to look fairly even and nice. This was my first time trying out a staining pad, and I really liked the way it went on so evenly and smoothly. I typically would either just use a rag to apply and then wipe back, or apply with some sort of a brush and then wipe it down, but I really liked using these staining pads, so I'll definitely do this again. I decided to paint the body of this chest, so I'm just cleaning it here with Heirloom Traditions deglosser wipes. They also do sell it in a liquid that you can apply with a sponge and give it a good scrub, but it not only cleans and degreases, but it also slightly etches the surface so that the paint will stick really well. After that, I covered the top so I didn't get any paint on there, and set up my new spray tent, which I did not realize quite how large it was. It took up quite a bit of the garage, so I'll probably have to do it in the driveway most of the time, but there are a ton of bugs and just leaves and things flying off of trees around here all the time that are getting stuck to my paint, so this tent will definitely come in handy. Next, I loaded up my sprayer, and I'm just falling in love with spraying the paint because it just gives such a nice finish. It's kind of not worth it to me to do on a small piece, but if I can use it for my larger pieces and I have enough time in the day to get both coats done and I don't have to clean out my sprayer a million times and waste a bunch of paint, then it definitely feels worth it for the finish and also just for the time savings. So this is just a very inexpensive sprayer. I will put the link to this and everything I used down below, but you don't have to spend a ton to get started with furniture flipping or making over your own pieces. I knew I wanted to give the front a little more interest and a little more of a modern look to it, so I already had these bamboo strips or sticks from other projects, and I had the wallpaper, which I wasn't 100% sure about yet, but I had that left over from my last project, which was a dresser, and it turned out really nice. You can check out that video on my channel as well, but here I was just playing with a couple of different designs to see which I thought might work the best. Alright, so we just finished the first coat of paint, and while that dries, I'm going to come over here and start staining the sticks that I need to make the slat design. So I've got a little setup here so they can dry easily without getting all over this other piece. I'm going to precondition them because this one that I tried is a little bit splotchy. So I'm going to use the pre-stain and hopefully that'll help. So this is the pre-stain that I'm using. You just want to make sure that you get the right type. So since I'm using the oil-based stain, I have the oil-based pre-stain. And you can use a rag or whatever you want. I'm just going to use this foam brush. And it says to let it sit 5 to 15 minutes. Then wipe off the excess. And then you want to put your stain on within 2 hours. It does have a pretty strong scent, just like stain, so you probably want to be doing it outside of your house if you can. Okay, so it's time for the stain, and I'm using Minwax oil-based stain in the color Early American. You want to get both edges and the ends as well because those will show on this design. I wasn't sure if I was going to do the wallpaper inside the lid or not yet, but I figured whether I did or not, if I were to mimic that, it would still be a cool design for the front. So I'm just laying them out and trying to decide exactly what design I want. And then I used my miter shears, which helps you cut at different angles. And you can cut these bamboo sticks with pretty much anything. I've cut them with scissors when I used them on my bathroom vanity, which you can see in another one of my videos if you want to check that out. But the miter shears just help you make sure you get the same angle every time. So it will make your life a lot easier, and they are not very expensive. I used wood glue to attach the slats, wiping away the excess, and then setting some weights. I find dumbbells work really well because they're so long, and I try to get at least the very ends weighted down to make sure those stick really well. I decided to go ahead and use the wallpaper on the inside of the lid because why not? It's just a fun little accent, and I already had it on hand, so I did that. And I just used my utility knife to go around the hinges and the little rubber stoppers, And then these braces I ended up painting black. I don't really know what those are there for, but I figured I better leave them, and I just painted them black so that they will blend in. And here it is all finished up. I just love the way it turned out. It gave it a much needed update and a new modern look. So let me know what you think. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. And also you can find the links to everything that I used in the description as well if you're interested. So that's it. I'll see you on the flip side.